Hi there, my name's Daniel. I'm from Transcontinental Trailer Sales. I'm going to be walking you through your 2022 Pioneer 171SS. We're just going to start off with the back bumper here. If you pull this cap off, you will notice this is where you keep your sewer hose. We just keep it in the back bumper here because it keeps the smell out of the unit. Take a note of these two ears here. Those are going to be the same two ears that connect to your sewer system. Just push that cap, just pushes back on. In this corner of the unit, as well as all four corners of the unit, you will notice you have stabilizer jack. The way that works is we have a tool in the front compartment. I'll show you that in a second. You hook that up to this bolt here. You run that down to the ground. You give it an extra quarter turn to eighth turn just to snug it up. And it's just going to take any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now out. Right up from there, we do have your main power inlet. Just take a note of that notch there. It's going to line up with that notch on the trailer side of the plug. That should just push right on in. Give it an eighth turn to lock it in, and then you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. Following that back, you just come to your standard 30 amp plug end. Most campsites should have this, so you should be able to plug right on in, but let's say you're at home and you want to run your fridge, or your campsite doesn't have 30 amp service. We do include a 15 amp park adapter. Just keep it in mind, you're going down to 50 amps of power, so you wouldn't be able to run something like your air conditioner. Right behind the back tire here, you do have your sewer outlet. Take a note of those ears there. It's the same ears that were on your sewer hose. Just line up with these notches here, give it that turn, locks into place, and you are connected. You got your black valve and your gray valve. Your black valve is gonna be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets, so you're gonna wanna drain that first, and then you can come behind that with your gray water, which is filled from your sink and toilets. Just moving a little further down the unit here. You do have access to your service port to your hot water heater. You got your 1/16" drain bolt down there. So if you want to drain the water tank because you're leaving it or you're winterizing it, you just loosen that off, pull that out, and the water will start making its way out. Before you ever fire up your hot water heater when you get to your campsite, always just give in this little pressure relief valve a pull. You should get a shot of water that comes out of there. Right now the unit is winterized, so there's no water inside the tank, but you're not going to want to empty that whenever it's empty, just because you run the risk of burning out your probes. I'm going to go over a reset procedure inside. The button I refer to is just right here. Right below this, you do have your low point drains as well as your fresh water tank drain. Let's say you're leaving the unit for a while, you don't want water in the lines going stale or stagnant. You can just crack these open. It's just gonna drain all the water that's inside your water lines. And then let's say you don't wanna drive around with a full fresh tank, just crack that guy open and it will just slowly drain your fresh tank. And then right next to your service port, you do have your city water connection. So if you're at a site with service, you can just plug your garden hose up to here, turn it on. It's gonna pressurize the lines inside the unit, not having to use your water pump. And then you just have your fresh water inlet. Just stick a hose in here, start filling it up. It'll start squirting out of this little vent when it is full. Inside here is just storage. Around front of the unit, inside this black box here is where we store your battery. And then right up here is your propane tank. So that's gonna work just like home. Turning that valve on opens the flow of propane to the unit. We do include this nice cover for it that I'll put on once we're done. And then you have your front tongue jack. One way's up, one way's down. That's gonna work pretty simple. If you were to want an electric tongue jack later on, you can talk to our parts department and we can get that put on for you. Inside this compartment here is where we have your 25-foot water hose we include, as well as that 15 amp park adapter I told you about. So that'll just take your 30 amp plug and turn it into a standard household plug-in, but you can't run your air conditioner on that. And then just on the wall here on a nice little holder, this is where your jack tool I told you about is. One way's up, one way's down. And we just store that in those nice hooks on the wall here, keeping it out of your way. Take a note, this is your furnace vent. Whenever you have the furnace running, this is going to be blowing out hot air, so you just want to make sure that you're not blocking that with anything because it will get hot or burnt. This is just going to be a service port for your fridge. Nothing you really need to worry about there. And then at the back of the unit is where your spare tire is, as well as your cable inlet. And then you are pre-wired for an observation camera if you were to want to get one. Just talk to our parts department about that. Get inside the unit. The door is on a little gas assist strut, so whenever you open it, it is not going to allow it to fully open. That way you're not blocking your awning. Let's get the stairs open. Give that stair a pull. That top stair folds down, and you can step on inside. Right up on your right is going to be your fire extinguisher. That's going to be just like home. Pull the pin and shoot. And then up on the wall on the other side, you do have your light switches. So the one on the far left is going to do your awning light under the awning. And the one on the right is going to do your interior lights, most of your interior lights. Right next to that just is your awning control. So you hit that button, hit that extend button. The awning's going to start making its way out. You'll know that awning's fully extended when you see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hang down. Sometimes that flap can get stuck, so sometimes you just have to retract it a little bit and put it back out. And it will come down. You can take any arm, front or rear. If it starts raining, just take this arm, pull it down. It's going to change the pitch of that awning head, allowing water to then run off. Now, if you like that angle better, you can do the same thing to the front arm, and it will allow for more shade underneath the awning. Always just making sure to push that arm back straight whenever you go to bring it in though. That way you don't run the risk of bending anything. You will want to bring that awning in whenever the winds do start to pick up. Once you get inside the main living space here, the slide out button is just a little further in the living space here. Just hit that button out. The slide out's gonna start making its way out. You know that slide out's fully extended once you hear the motors wind up and the clicking. Oh, there you go. The motor's just cut out. That's when you know it's fully extended. All the blinds inside the unit are just kind of a sit where you leave them method. So if you want them down, you pull them down. If you want them up, you push them up, and they'll just stay there. On the one side of the bed, you do have two 110 plugins, as well as two USB plugins, as well as storage above and beside the bed. If you take your bed and you lift this cover up, it does give you access to a little storage compartment underneath here. Keep blankets or whatever else you'd like to keep under there. Inside this compartment here, there is no actual handle, but that's where you're going to get access to your hot water heater bypass valves, as well as your water pump for when you comes time to winterizing. In the kitchen space here, you do have your stove. That's going to work pretty simple. You just turn that knob over to high, hit it with a lighter, and it lights right on up. Just keep it in mind whenever you are running this does run on propane, so it's going to put out some fumes, so it'd be good to just keep a couple windows cracked. With that being said, there is a LP detector right below your thermostat here. Whenever this guy starts going off, you are just going to want to turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit off. Open up all the windows. That way you can evacuate those fumes a little bit. You have your microwave up top. That's going to be just like home. Not much I'm going to show you there. Sink with hot and cold water. And then you do have your Dometic fridge and freezer. The controls for the fridge does just work with this little sliding white piece of plastic. Pushing it all the way up to the top is going to make it at its coldest settings, and anywhere in the middle to down below is going to be its lowest settings. And then right up top here is just how you are going to turn it on. So hit that button, it's going to turn itself on. Right now it's on auto, so it is going to first search for shore power. If shore power is taken away, it then switches over to gas. If you want it to run solely on gas because you are offshore camping, you just depress that button and it'll just fire on gas automatically, and it won't go off power supply. That's about it for the fridge. If you just a little below the fridge, you do have your breaker panel. Whenever a breaker pops, it's going to sit in the middle, so you just got to turn it off and then back on to reset it. And whenever a fuse blows, there will just be a red indicator light telling you which fuse has popped. In the dinette area, you do have 2 lights above the dinette. They are on their own center push buttons. And then you have the couch. This couch can also turn into a bed. And then if you were to want to add another bed, you can do so. Just fold this down and you can put a little mattress that they hide behind the couch here. Pulling that out. And you can have another little person sleeping on top if you were to need that. And that mat does just stay nicely behind the bed there. To get the couch back up to its regular seating position, you're just grabbing the foot of it, grabbing the top of it, and just kind of assisting it back in place. It just folds back nice and easy like that. You do have your dinette table here. It's set up as a dinette. This also turns into a bed. All you need to do is just pull these bottom legs out, take the tabletop, and put it on this nice ledge, and take your back cushions and fill it in the middle, and you'll have another bed as well. And then just behind you here, this is the thermostat for the heater. With it off, it's obviously going to be off. With it all the way to the right is going to be at its hottest settings. Anywhere in the middle is going to be cooler. The way that you just slide that on, this unit does only have 1 output for the furnace. It's going to blow all its air out of that little portal there. If you were to want to blow, you can get a fan to blow that air around if you were to want to do that. And then on the ceiling here is where you're going to control your AC. So right now we just do have it on off. Your first setting is going to be low fan. So at this point you're just going to be moving air with the air conditioner. There's no cooling involved. Then you get into high fan. And now you get, right after high fan is low cool. So that's just going to be, now cooling kicks in and you're going to be on the low fan. And then you got high cool, which is going to be the high fan. And then you can turn that off. And then you do have a little temperature dial here with it all the way to the blue is going to be its coldest settings. And then you can just turn that. It does have a red setting, but this does not have the heater element installed in it, so that does not work. And then you do have 2 options for running the air conditioner. You can use these louvers and you can decide where the air blows, which side it blows on, how much it blows out. You do have 2 intake filters underneath these tabs here. You just grab these tabs, they'll snap out of place. You can take those filters out and give them a quick blow with air, put them back in. This is going to be your entertainment center. Right here is a TV backer, so if you were to want to mount a TV on the wall, right here is where you're going to want to do so. You do have plugins right down below, storage inside. Then inside the bathroom, you're just going to have your bathtub with your shower, hot and cold water, your sink, and your toilet. And then your main GFI plug is inside here. And the light switch is just on that left switch. And the switch beside that turns the fan on above your head. But back to the main GFI, you got test on the left, reset on the right. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, that'd be the first place I would check. And then you just have your monitor panel system. So you got your battery, which is going to go low, 11.2, 11.7, and 12.3. 11.2 is going to be about the lowest you're going to want to get it to the point where it's going to operate anything. And then you got your fresh, your black, and your gray, and that just goes a third, 2/3, and full. And then you have your water pump switch, so you turn that on, it's going to turn your water pump on, which draws out of your fresh water tank, and then you can either fire up your hot water heater with on either electric or gas. If you do fire it up on gas, you're going to notice this DSI fault light come on. Once the water heater is going to try lighting itself 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light itself, you just got to turn this switch off, go hit that reset button in the service port I showed you, and then try and turn it back on. And the 2nd time it should fire up. That's going to be it for this guy here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.